After the away team sat down to study a unique hinge that is not of natural formation on a, for most part, uncharted world, they found themselves in the past when the last vessel to survey this world, the USS Venture, when both away teams were swapped. After successfully being able to transfer the away teams back to their respective ships and time, the Tenshi away team reemerges not so much in their reality. And we'll go to the transporter room.
So we see they're wearing different uniforms.
The uniforms are the same as yours except for the slash and belt, but yes, the uniforms are the same except for they're missing that particular item.
And we're wearing TOS uniform.
But there is a Commander Solon in our timeline, and we're expecting him back at the moment.
You're expecting all of the away team members back that were sent down, and all the away team members returned.
Yeah, I'll start frantically typing on the transporter controls and saying, Captain, I'm engaging anti-changeling protocols. Something looks off here.
The fact that we're in TOS uniforms?
Oh yeah, they're in TOS uniforms, not in their own uniforms.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just said that they were in our uniforms minus the slash, but they're not.
Yeah, no, that's a mistake on my part. But yes, they're actually in TOS uniforms.
Oh, then I'll say that entirely differently. I'll say, Captain, possible intruders initiating anti-changeling protocol.
Very well.
Flood just raises an eyebrow. That should not be necessary. We changed uniforms for the appropriate time period so we could fit in the time frame when we were in.
Then you have nothing to worry about. Don't mind the tickling. That's just the phaser hitting you.
Commander Solon, you've been through this many a time. It's not going to be any worse this time.
You hear a slight hum of the force field being engaged around the pad area, and all of you begin feeling a slight tingling and then sharp pain. Each of you take 2 stress damage.
Ow.
And I assume, GM, that means that they're not changelings because they didn't change form.
Yes, that means they're not changing because they didn't change forms.
No, that just means you didn't turn up the intensity high enough.
Process complete, sir. It doesn't look like they're changelings. But their uniforms, sir.
At this time, a medical team arrives inside the transporter room.
We went back in time. You should know this.
I assume you've done the changeling detection protocol, sir, Lieutenant?
With the captain's agreement, I'll lower the force field. Security team, Captain?
I'll pull up my medical tricorder.
Captain, I find myself strangely confused. What is the current star date?
Oh, one of these. Great.
I suggest a security team and wait for them until we let the doctor in, sir.
Doctor, I want you and a security team to take custody of the away team and make sure they're not... Well, make sure everything checks out per protocol.
All right, you. Get off the pad and come with me.
The star date, Captain.
Memory loss, perhaps?
perhaps.
Can you check your transporter logs to make sure that something didn't change or something? But in the meantime,
I'll verify, but temporal prime directive, we can't tell them. We should confirm that before we tell them anything, we should confirm that they belong here.
What stardate do you believe it is, officer?
The current stardate is 55517.2, Captain.
I'll kind of pull it up on the pad so the captain can see what
Looks
ours
over.
is.
Well, officer, you just bought yourself about 2 stardates. So once the doctor has you cleared, I expect a full debrief report before you return to shift from all of you about what exactly is going on here. I'm returning to the bridge, Lieutenant Lauren. If you have any other need of me, I'll be up there. Doctor, be thorough, please. I don't want any surprises.
you know I'm thorough, sir. But I will comply, of course.
Transporter room to Lieutenant Simon. Report with the security team immediately to transporter room 1.
And that just walks away, doesn't say a word to anyone.
All right, come with me. Step off slowly. Is anybody feeling any discomfort?
I mean, yes, we just have a phaser fired at us.
Oh, well. I mean, that notwithstanding. No headaches, no blurred vision, no hallucinations, anything like that?
Real quick though, Vogel, give me fitness medicine difficulty of 1.
Fitness medicine, you say?
Oh. You brush it off, but you have the back of your mind. You feel like a little bit of pain.
Awesome.
No offense, but why did security take so long to get here?
You know, maybe because hi, I'm here.
It takes a lot out of a person trying to secure a ship all day, Doctor. I'm sure they'll be here soon. All those times you have to go through and verify there are no changelings in every single vent on the ship.
Understood.
It's a lot of scanning.
Yeah. Well, protocols are protocols. We don't want any change in getting on our ship. You know what happens when that happens.
Yes, Doctor. Lieutenant Simon, if you would escort these officers to the med bay with the doctor.
Glad you changed your wording.
And I will accompany you, Doctor.
Thank you kindly. All right, this way, please. Single file. Keep your hands where I can see them. Or where security can see them, anyway.
Uh-huh.
I'll let you go by.
I think everybody here is headed to the med bay, so.
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
The medical teams, they get you into bio beds to start running routine checks.
I make sure there's a level 10 force field of the med bay to keep them inside it. Lieutenant, will you set that up, please?
Yes, I can manage that, Doctor.
Control plus engineering difficulty of 2.
Take a threat.
Two momentum gained. Bzz. As a force field is erected around all entrances and exits.
Great. All right, who's first? Commander?
Of course.
All right. Full scan, medical scan, psychological scan, all the tools. Whatever upgrades I might have to do so.
Despite a little, how about this way? His quantum signature all matches with your essentially universe.
Okay.
He does have exhibits of elements being exposed to chronoton radiation.
Okay. Noted.
But everything else, other than that, he's in perfect health.
Well, thank you, Commander. Question: did you encounter any sort of weird experiences, perhaps? Something that might be extraordinary or out of the ordinary recently? You can get off the bed.
Define weird, Doctor.
I would say unusual in the sense of perhaps, I know this isn't really allowed, but maybe some temporal disturbances or phenomena you've been near.
I have, but I feel the need to speak to the captain about that.
Understood.
Or anyone
Let
else.
me finish these examinations, and I will give my report to the captain.
GM question. There's not a whole lot of change in that, like, we last episode in this time we're also trying to save the same problem of getting them back. So
Yeah.
we knew that they were time travel and we were trying to get them out of the TOS era.
Yes, you are
Okay.
you're aware of that.
Yeah. So you would know that, Doctor.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this must be residual from when you went back a couple hundred years. Perhaps. I'll see if
That is a logical assumption, Doctor.
coming from you, perhaps that is worth noting. Who's next? And I'll go through the exams the same.
Your medical staff also kind of went around and started doing the checks, and
Oh, good.
doctor, it would appear that all exhibit the same symptoms of these.
Of this chronoton then yeah. Good. Okay, so I'll send a report about clean bill of health, not out of the wrong timeline, assumably, but also exposure to chronoton particles. That's what I'll send to the captain.
I need everyone on the away team who went on it to make an insight plus con or command difficulty of 1.
They're certainly not changelings. That's a relief. You can take the force field down.
I'm going to spend a momentum so I can get a reroll just in case.
Somewhat unfortunate, Doctor. I do sometimes look forward to spacing a changeling.
Whatever works.
You said insight and what?
Con or command.
I'll use a momentum. Try to build some more.
3 momentum generated so far. I'm not worried about the supporting characters. You guys realize that there's some the Vulcan doctor. You don't really recognize her.
Doctor, have you added to your medical staff recently?
What do you mean? You have access to the other ones that do the duty roster. I'm not sure why you would ask me, but
One of your staff is unfamiliar to me. Points to the Vulcan.
I reintroduced the Vulcan.
The Vulcan raises an eyebrow. Perhaps further study is needed, Doctor.
Yes, perhaps stay here, Commander, while we'll do some further tests.
I am not suffering any medical injuries.
Let me determine that. Just have a seat.
Doctor.
Yes.
Would you mind while you're scanning them if I talk to Lieutenant Tyrol? I have something I need to ask him about engineering operations. We don't need to leave the med bay. We can just step into your office.
Yeah, once you take the force field down, you're free to roam the med area. Do not leave. Security is still around.
I'll take it down and I'll say, Lieutenant Tyrol in the doctor's office with me, please.
Doctor, is the rest of my away team not cleared for duty?
Not quite yet. Let me finish your examination. They're welcome to stay in the other med bay for now if they're getting a little bored with this situation. But for now, just stay in the med area till we talk to the captain further.
Very well. Sloan wants to step over towards Lieutenant Vogel and very quietly tell her, go into the other med bay, access your personnel files, make note of any abnormalities.
And I'll nod to the commander. And start heading that way.
The Vulcan doctor walks up to Solon. Commander, tell me, what was the last thing you remembered before beaming down to the surface of the planet?
Before beaming to the surface of the planet, I had briefed my away team on our mission to the planet to investigate the strange stone hedge on the planet.
Intriguing.
And if you will, sit on this bed here, Commander. I'm going to do a thorough brain analysis and maybe a memory sequencing analysis, just to see if the timelines of his brain are congruent with what I know of him.
Give me reason plus medicine difficulty of 3.
All right. Let's see. Can I use imaging systems as a focus to pull up the brain and do all those sorts of fancy stuff? Okay.
You can lower the difficulty with so you're want to like use your advantage to like lower the difficulty by 1.
Sure. But the focus wouldn't apply?
Imaging systems will apply.
Okay. And I'll take a die, I guess.
Also, assisted by the ship's computers plus. Actually, no, sensors plus medicine.
Phew.
Get the momentum back. You notice that he's in perfect health. The last time he did sort of a cranial scan on, but there is some slight differences between the last checkup. It would appear that his memories have been or haven't been altered per se, but are different.
Okay. I'll take my assistant aside, as it were.
Doctor?
And I'll bring it up on the display at this bed. What do you make of this?
A side effect of the temporal displacement?
Possibly. Or perhaps a memory alteration?
There does not seem to be any evidence of memory alteration, at least not that we are aware of.
Yes, but you know that the Dominion has many ways of changing another being. Could even be a clone for all I know.
Possible, though we are very far away from the front lines.
Oh, sure. Well, we do check for changelings all the time, don't we? Either way, let's just gonna put a little asterisk next to that. We'll keep an eye on them. I think you should too. Perhaps you should take the day off after you've been reunited.
Perhaps.
As you will. I'll go back over. Well, other than a few anomalies in your scan, which most likely are caused by your exposure to the chronoton particles, for now I'm going to give you a clean, I guess, maybe a little smudgy bill of health. But we'll keep an eye on the situation and let me know if you experience any discomfort or headaches or misunderstandings or those kind of things. But go ahead.
Understood, Doctor.
All right, you're free to head back to your quarters for now. I will update the captain. But otherwise, I guess next you can just go back to duties. But do check in the next 4 to 6 hours. Tell me your progress.
Understood. Lieutenant Vogel, Lieutenant Vogel has left the room. Has anyone else left the room with her?
No.
Lieutenant Sarissa. Always forget the names of these NPCs.
You want the Cardassian?
Yeah, what was his name?
Bissell.
Lieutenant Beisel.
Not Sarissa, Lieutenant Beisel. Return to your quarters and um, adorn proper uniforms, and then meet me in the conference room. When the other lieutenant returns from speaking with Lieutenant Lauren, inform him I wish to speak to him as well.
Yes, sir.
And Salon's going to go into this other room to speak to Lieutenant Vogel.
Before that, we're gonna have there's Lieutenant Lauren and Traval. We're having a conversation.
When we walk in, I'll say, Lieutenant, I wanted to go ahead and get your report on what happened down there.
We took 2 shuttles down to the surface of the planet where we loaded several equipment up the side of many hill facings, where we then begin a mineralogical study of the hinge structure. During our findings, ion storm tracked in, and we proceeded to beam out. As we were being beamed out, we found ourselves on the USS Venture. We were then immediately taken to the brig aboard the USS Venture by a Captain Morgan Avery. After some time, the commander was able to gain her trust. And do I need to be thorough? Or it will take a while.
Well, we can go through it all. You didn't leave any of your equipment behind, did you?
There was a container that was transported with us on the transporter pad. It should have contained all our equipment.
GM, did everyone just leave that container sitting there?
Yes.
And you didn't leave any equipment in their time?
We did not.
All right. I will go inspect that equipment. Return to your shift in engineering once you get a proper uniform.
I believe the end of my shift was over 1 hour ago. But if you wish to remain on duty, I will do so. It's just someone being very thorough.
If you can cover another shift, then yes, please go to engineering. If you don't feel up to it, then no.
Understood.
And I will head back to the transporter room.
Sherlock comes walking in there. Am I clear for duty, Doctor? It was left on the transporter pad, so.
Doesn't matter to me. We could have said it was here. But since we've already established it.
All right. Solon, you walk up to Vogel.
Lieutenant Vogel, have you identified any abnormalities in your personnel file?
I will message you.
Sorry, what was the question?
The commander asked if there was any abnormalities in your service record. There are several changes.
No, I was trying to get context for what you're sending me. I didn't hear the commander. There appears to be several discrepancies in my record, Commander.
Explain.
Ship service records are different. Says my last posting was the Tereshkova, which I guess that's accurate. But it doesn't have anything before that.
That is unusual. I suspect that some of our actions have caused a change in the timeline. They continue to talk about changelings of the Dominion.
Could they still be at war with the Dominion in this timeline?
You should find out. Computer, what is the current of state of relationships between the Federation and the Dominion?
The United Federation of Planets is still at war with the Dominion and their allies.
It is disturbing. We should meet with the rest of the away team, review our actions, and figure out what we've done to alter the timeline. I will need to report to the captain.
It's either the timeline was altered or maybe there was another error in the transporter beam, similar to the one that sent us to the past in the first place.
That is possible as well, though the doctor seems quite confident that we are who and where we are supposed to be. Perhaps a review of the war itself will give us some clues.
I'll try to put up more data on how the war is going. Maybe dig a little deeper and see if I could pinpoint exactly where the timeline diverges from ours.
Very good. I've instructed the others to change into a proper uniform and meet me in the conference room so that the five of us can discuss what has happened and then what to do.
Vogel, give me insight plus con, difficulty of 1.
1, you say?
Yes, difficulty of 1.
I'll use another momentum. Yeah, good. I needed it. Commander, you might want to look at this. From these records, it would appear that Bezier joined the Federation in 2297. In our timeline, Bezier is not even a member of the Federation yet. Oh wait,
It is.
It is.
I just remembered. Bezier has only been a member of the Federation for less than a year.
2. Be 2 years now. I think we put it at 2376.
It doesn't matter. Exact dates are whatever.
So, what does the data file say about the circumstances around Bajor's entrance into the Federation?
I'm going to try to access the Bajor files. It would appear that the Kai at the time recommended them join the Federation. Appears that this was beginning to be the Kai reached out to Starfleet around 2290, early 2290.
That perhaps is the divergence in the timeline. I cannot think of any actions that we've taken that would have spurned Bajor into enter the Federation early, unless Lieutenant Bissell said something to someone when we were on the Venture.
It's hard to say, but it's a good bet that whatever happened around that time in the past.
This is disturbing. We'll need to talk to Lieutenant Bissell. In the meantime, reviewing our own actions and conversations that we had aboard the Venture. It seems logical to assume that we did something.
The question is what, and how do we get back?
Now, before we can fix the problem, we must be able to diagnose it. Let's give the away team time to get into a proper uniform. I have ordered them to meet us in the conference room. We can talk to Lieutenant Bissell.
All right. Well, you guys go off, get a change of uniform. I want to go back to the transporter. You're not there. So, Lauren, you head back to the transporter room. There is a container on the transporter bed.
I open it.
Inside the container, you see Starfleet uniforms, type typical away team equipment, and some other items that would be typical that are missing inside the container. But the rest would be the tricorders. They had their combat badges on them, uniforms and phaser, and then also their away team, standard equipment.
But no sashes.
No sausage.
Lieutenant Lauren to the captain.
Captain here, go ahead.
I had a chance to talk with one of my officers that was on the away team, Lieutenant Terrell, and he promised me that they did not violate the Temporal Prime Directive, that they did not leave any equipment behind. But none of their protective sashes are in their equipment. I have reason to believe either he is lying to me and he broke the Temporal Prime Directive, someone else on the team did, or they're infiltrators. I request to have him detained, possibly more of them. It could be some sort of new changeling tactic. Or it could just be a simple violation of the Temporal Prime Directive.
Either way, a serious offense that could imperil the ship and the Federation. Recommendation noted. Let's log everything for the security report, and once you have that settled, report to the bridge. We need to get the ship underway. We can't be sitting over this ruin forever.
Sir, I think you might have to handle this. Your first officer and chief of security could be compromised. They could be part of this.
Which is why I'm going to order them all to be... I'm typing in now an order to security to detain all persons from the away team and have them brigged. We're on silent red alert until the away team has been contained.
Understood. I'll lock this container and head up to the bridge. Lauren out.
Also, since we're under suspicion of them, lock their command codes for the time being until we can verify that this is just someone being negligent rather than infiltration.
I think that's on you, sir. I can't lock out. I can lock out the commander, but it would take me some time and be somewhat arduous. You're the only one who can do that at the press of a button.
I'm locking out the XO. You just lock out everyone else, including the junior officers.
Understood. Then I will walk over to this console and lock out everyone who is not the executive officer.
Forward to momentum.
Yes.
Okay.
And Captain's going to lock out the XO. And quietly have security detain the away team.
And then I'll head to the bridge.
Just as you were heading out of sickbay, you noticed that security started kind of grouping up upon the five of you. Commander, I'm gonna have to ask you to accompany to the brig. I'm under orders from the captain.
Indeed. We have been cleared for duty by the doctor.
New orders from the captain. Sorry, sir. You'll have to accompany me.
Just myself or my entire away team?
All of you. Apologize.
I understand you are following orders. We will comply.
Well, I guess I'm going to continue wearing the outdated uniform. Yay.
And they escort you all of you to the brig. Doctor, as you're heading there, the other doctor follows you to the turbolift. What's that
Well-
all about, Doctor? It seems that security has escorted the away team somewhere.
Well, I did send a message to the captain regarding his lack of memory of you, the commanders, on bridge. And so basically, I sent a message while they were leaving and letting the captain know, but I don't know specifically why they were detained. I did give them, well, relatively clean bill of health, but I'd like to monitor them, but I don't know. We'll have to ask the captain himself. What do you think of your husband's uh, activities so far?
Disturbing, but I'm sure we will pull through it.
Perhaps you could use a mind meld. I've heard that that might be some way of doing some therapy. That's all really beyond my capabilities, of course.
This could also be something else.
Certainly. I leave it to your discretion, of course. But I'd like to keep an eye on him for sure.
Prudent course of action.
Well, I'll take that compliment. And to the bridge.
Both of you kind of arrive around the same time from different turbo shafts.
Orders, Captain.
Verify all systems are functional. And prepare to re-engage in our original patrol vector.
Verifying.
Everything's green, so
All green.
Very good. Engage cruising speed. Follow patrol vector alpha. And so, Ferric, status on the detainment? I imagine they didn't give us much trouble.
They were being escorted to the brig with security as I left.
Oh, very good, Doctor.
But as to where they landed, that's up to them.
Keep an eye on them, Ferric.
Yeah, I'm concerned about Commander Solon. I lean in to the captain. Just concerned he doesn't recognize his own wife. Just saying, Captain. And I'll lean back.
Understood.
So, be aware that there may be some issues that I can't detect medically.
Well, their medical fitness isn't the issue at present, Doctor. It's a protocol and security issue. Nothing to worry about, medically speaking.
Oh, good. Well, as long as keep an eye on him, then that'll be good.
But I do want a word with you, Doctor.
Absolutely.
Lauren, you have the bridge for the time being. Once the away team is settled into their brig quarters, arrange for them to be for interrogation in series. We'll meet with them at from lowest rank to highest at the conference room
I
with
think
with security detail.
I think Ensign Lenara is more than capable of reestablishing patrol pattern. I can go see to that personally.
All right, make it so. Walk off to the ready room.
I'm headed to the brig.
Something to drink, Doctor?
Yeah. I'll take a small thing of Saurian brandy. Synthahol, but still tastes good.
Oh, and here I was looking to get you a reprimand.
Oh, really?
I try. One
Well,
synth. The heck did you order again, Doctor?
Saurian brandy.
Saurian brandy, and one Cation milk blend, strawberry flavor.
Thank you, Captain. What do I owe the pleasure?
Well, Doctor, puts a drink in front of you and sips at his.
I take a drink. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Put it back down.
Doctor, I'm gonna need you to go over them bit by bit, blood sample, full workup. We have a suspicion that there's been a suspicion raised that it's possible that we have a new type of infiltrator.
Okay.
It's also possible that this may be just someone violating an existing directive. But
Understood.
I want to eliminate all possible threats to the ship. Now, I know you went through the standard suite, but
Absolutely.
I don't want them to know that they're at any more suspicion than they already are. For the time being, they've been removed from duty, pending security clearance by myself.
Understood. Let me know directly who is available when you have that information yourself, and I will otherwise understand. Question,
Hmm.
sir. Concerning this, and as I spoke a little bit about earlier about him not remembering, there were some anomalies that may be attributed to the chronoton particles, but I don't know exactly what those were being caused by. And those might be a place to at least start our research on. If you want to get more specific on everything about them, you might have to go to the atomic and or quantum level and make it the science department in on this to get a full markup of every part of them. And
Mm-hmm.
then we can get a full diagnostic, my whole suite plus whatever they may have at their disposal. As a suggestion, at least.
I'll leave it to your discretion for the time being, Doctor. But
Sure.
the longer we don't have them cleared, the more I'm going to have to answer very uncomfortable questions from the Admiralty regarding why I have them sidelined. If they're
Well-
our officers, I want them back. But if they're not, I want them inside Starfleet Security's custody before we get to our next mission objective.
Well, at a minimum, they are in the brig. I will get on that right away, sir. I'll take another sip.
I'll slug back the drink a bit,
Mm-hmm.
recycle my glass, and just start heading out to the bridge.
All right, thank you much. I'll do the same thing, finish, and then recycle. Ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. All right.
Where are you heading to, Doctor?
I am going to now. My question is is our science officer one of the away team members?
I just realized. You stay there. I'm going to the conference room. I forgot.
There are other members of the science team, though you did a full workup on them, and you also did a quantum level check.
Okay.
It all came back normal.
Okay. So I'm gonna go to the brig, and I'm also gonna get the science team. Gonna buy a science team / medical
Or
team. Basically, what I'm trying to do is, I did my full suite. If there's anything more I can do, or somebody else can think of, maybe even engineering, because it was a transporter situation. So maybe we can check the transporter itself to see if there was some anomaly. And we also have the physical object that came with them. Maybe that has properties that I can't tell medically. So, I think buying a science team or equivalent.
you already have like an advantage on the ship, so you have medical teams at your disposal.
Okay.
That you can send them on different tasks. Keep in mind though, if you send those like teams like use that advantage, you won't have them for like lower the difficulty of something else for a task down the road until they complete that, assignment.
Okay.
But meanwhile, we're gonna go to the break. Lauren, you walk in, you find Sai and Simon currently guarding the away team, which they're currently in the break. Still in their TOS uniforms.
Lieutenant Tyrol, if you could come with me.
Under what grounds, Lieutenant?
In connection with a possible temporal violation.
Now, Lieutenant Lauren, it would be most appropriate that you speak to the leader of the away team before one of my members. And I will need to speak to the captain over the same issue.
After I come back from talking to Lieutenant Tyrol, I'll let him know.
Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest, Lieutenant?
If need be. It doesn't have to be that way, but if you want it to be that way, it will be that way.
If that is the case, then when did the security matters become an engineering problem?
When our chief of security became unavailable.
You have other security officers. There are two right there. There's another on the bridge. Why you?
Lieutenant Tyrol, please.
Am I being charged with something?
That's what under arrest means.
What charge?
The captain will present you with all the charges, if he needs to.
If there's any questions you wish to ask of me, you can ask them in front of the rest of the away team. I hold no secrets.
All right. I'll go to the security panel. Lauren to the captain.
Captain here, go ahead.
I have a refusal to cooperate on all fronts. I'd like permission to enact special measures to get cooperation. Non-violent, of course. You remember what they did to Earth. I don't want them doing that to my ship. Our ship.
Understood. Carry on. Captain out.
I will start filling the. I will start filling the thing with anesthetine.
Away team. In accordance with the Temporal Prime Directive, you are ordered not to comply with any of Lieutenant Lauren or any other member of the crew's questions until I have spoken to the captain and where I have countermanded my order. Is that understood?
Fitness medicine difficulty of 2.
I was gonna say, I'm not speaking. There's gas in the room.
So on increased difficulty. As you were talking. So diff 3.
Fitness medicine.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend that. I'm going to spend that last momentum.
So far, you're still awake. Just need fitness medicine difficulty. It's fitness medicine, not command. What's your medicine score?
Didn't make that.
There's a 9 and a 3. I just need the other one's 14. It's probably not.
So on.
Yeah, no.
I made mine.
You got 2 successes. Cause yeah. So on you go unconscious.
I had 3 successes.
It's fitness medicine. You rolled fitness
Oh,
command.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, I don't think the 14 would have hit.
Probably not. I have a threat. Hell. I'm fine. I'm stubborn.
Vogel, and then whoever watches the roll for the 2 supporting characters.
I'll roll Psycho.
What's the roll?
Fitness medicine difficulty of 2.
More brain stuff.
No, necessine gas is filling the room. You don't have to roll. You could just go unconscious if you want.
I'm not gonna spend anything because my stuff is atrocious.
Almost. Even still.
Just need to roll.
Whenever Vogel and fitness medicine are involved, assume it's a fail.
Normally wouldn't be that bad, but when you got a crystal in your brain, it gets a whole lot worse.
Yep.
Oh, you got him.
I was just like, okay, no one else had him, so I was just grabbing him quickly. We had the same idea. No. Wow. Okay, Sarissa. It's just you.
Sarissa, you notice everyone else has fallen to the ground.
I can pretend.
You'll have to give me another fitness plus medicine difficulty 3 as it's filling up because you're kind of holding your breath. So
I like not being interrogated. And that's what this sounds like gonna happen.
I promise you, you're not on the list.
That's persuasive.
Scout's honor.
I'll spend 1 threat, sure. Ooh. I have the Necklace of Fortune. Let's go. Yeah.
You gain a momentum. You're still up.
Can I pretend to be unconscious?
You can. Give me control security. You're setting the difficulty.
We'll go with a 4.
So difficulty 4, control security.
Yeah, okay, we'll do 2 threat and momentum. And fish. Yep.
2 momentum generated. So, yeah. You fall to the ground and you close your eyes. Lauren, the gas dissipates and all the away team members are currently on the floor.
All right. I will look to the other two security people and say, I'm lowering the force field. Be ready. And I'll lower the force field. And I will remove Bissell. And I'll reactivate the force field.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna kind of wait and try to get Bissell back from being unconscious in a medically safe way.
Control medicine, difficulty of 1.
Good control bad medicine, so take a momentum.
Get the momentum back, and he comes to, and he's a little startled. Looks at you, and
Don't worry, it's not you. We're worried about Bissell. We're worried about Tyrol. If you want to come just speak with the captain, I'm sure we can get you back to duty. Clear your name real quick.
President's command opposed. Because he's definitely unsure about things.
Are you spinning for any dice? So I'm not if you're not.
I'll roll flat. It is a tie.
I mean, yeah, it
Uh,
is. Because I didn't fail. Is he gonna stonewall me, or he's just not convinced yet?
He will proceed to follow you, but he's not convinced of, that his name will be cleared.
That's fine. The captain can convince him. As long as this is not going to cause him to completely shut down, then I'll just let it go. And take him to the bridge. Not the bridge, the conference room with the captain.
Mm.
You escort him to the conference room.
Waiting in the conference room would be his favorite dish. Just waiting there on the table. Captain sitting down already, just eating away.
I wanted to just start with Lieutenant Tyrol, sir, but Vulcan obstinance. He wanted to resist any attempt to investigate. I'm not sure what got into him. And then once you authorized my actions, the commander ordered them all not to speak to us. So there must be something going on, sir. This is how they got onto Earth.
So what's it going to be, Lieutenant? Bissell, rather.
I told him we're not that interested in him, that we're more interested in Tyrol. I'm sure if he wanted to speak with us, we could clear this up.
It's true. I mean, we're all friends here. We're all part of the same crew. And my job is simply to make sure you can do yours. And, well, the only way I can do my job is if you answer the questions put to you. First of which, I would like to know if anyone left anything behind.
First, Captain, if you don't mind, I would like to know what I'm being charged with.
Well, I mean, I'm considering the charges, but at the moment you're under suspicion of dereliction of duty, violation of the Temporal Prime Directive, and endangerment of the ship due to the same. But at the moment you're simply at the executive review. So you're not being court-martialed yet, but my patience is being tested a little bit. I'm simply trying to verify whether or not the away team did something wrong. Because something wrong happened here, and I intend to find out what it is. And it is your duty, Lieutenant, to help me do that.
Give me presence command opposed. Because he's conflicted around that, because this is very peculiar to him. And he is under order by Commander Solon, which he's not really sure. Like he's where he's supposed to be at the moment. So
Disarming nature, because I'm bonus or talent.
sure.
That's why I'm giving him the food. I'm like, oh, I'm super friendly. Don't worry, I'm not mad at you at all. Everything's fine.
Yeah, the
Carry
super
with
death.
kindness. Got it.
Yeah, the super death laser in the next room. That's what happens if you don't eat the food.
I mean, there are
I
certain...
do have a molecular scalpel, if that's going to be of use.
I would like to see the doctor's rendition of the no, Mr. Bond, I intend to kill you.
Can I apply the focus team dynamics? We're on the same team here. I do actually want you to work with me. Although deception might come into it, so that might be a no. To be fair.
I mean, you're not deceiving him, trying to actively deceive him. He thinks you are, but you're not. So.
I won't spend if he won't.
I mean, I have threat, but...
I'll spend a momentum.
I'll spend a threat, because it's...
He's a little jumpy.
Wow. Do you have a reroll? And that's engineering. But still
Command would be one better. 17 wouldn't have changed anything. With disarming nature, I barely beat him.
Yes, but there's the complication.
But I gained one momentum, which gives me up to 2, so I can quash it. Because I beat him by 1.
Yeah, so yes, you get it. You get a
That was embarrassingly close.
That was clutch.
Wow, nice.
Oh, that would have been terrible. I think you're the changeling. Well, this isn't going to go well.
You never know. A good Mexican standoff can't hurt a TV show.
To be honest, Captain, I'm under orders by Commander Solon to not discuss anything without his presence, but given the circumstance, I will answer some of your questions.
Did you or any of the OA team leave anything behind? Lieutenant.
Not to my knowledge, sir. We put everything into the container, and that container never left our sight.
Lieutenant Lauren, please verify if all items that were assigned to the away team were returned upon their return.
I'll look at a pad, obviously not going to do anything with it, just kind of putting on a show, and then put the pad back down and say, "No, Captain. The away team's allotted protective sashes were not returned and did not come back through the transporter."
Lieutenant Bissell, your
Sashes?
response?
We do not wear sashes.
I kind of just grab my sash and kind of move it a little bit, like saying, like, this.
Like you're trying to help him, like, this one, idiot, this one.
You've never worn a sash?
It's not part of the standard OA team equipment.
I don't know why you would lie about that, Captain. There's something entirely different here at play. A changeling wouldn't lie about that. They would just make up an excuse as to why they left it behind.
Lieutenant, why do you... What is that piece of equipment the lieutenant's wearing? He leans back in his chair and he continues to eat a bit, although being a lot more actually relaxed now instead of putting on a show of being relaxed.
I am not aware of such equipment or its function.
It could be, Captain, that he is from a different place and time. Captain Kirk did some things like this.
Is there a reason why everyone wears that?
It's standard issue. It's for your protection in the event of an attack or decompression from the hull breach.
Attacked by who? We're not at war with anyone.
It just kind of raises his eyebrows and just closes them and sighs.
When exactly do you remember the Dominion being defeated?
2375, when a joint operation between Klingon and Romulan forces in the Federation attacked Cardassia, putting an end to the war.
That sounds fantastical. We have an alliance like that and couldn't do that.
GMVI, the Ramas never joined the alliance, so.
Oh, I thought they were still at war with the Dominion now.
Ramas have remained neutral, but Federation
Okay.
Klingons are.
Okay, then I will retract that statement.
Romulan allies. Yeah, sure. All right.
Yeah, if they could have joined the war, we might actually have ended it.
Yeah.
That means they may have already violated the temporal prime directive. I can't imagine what they did to end the war that early.
Be nice to know. All right, Lieutenant, stay comfortable. Lieutenant Lauren, get the rest of them up here. I want to know what the heck's going on.
Hi, Captain.
And the captain, while waiting for people to come up, starts ordering everyone's favorite dish and starts laying them out. Just with a casualness, that's a thing he does. Gets himself seconds, recycles his old plate, gets a new one.
Bissell starts eating.
Oh, not that one. That's the poisoned one.
After some time, the rest of the away team joins, is in the conference room.
Officers, you can find your seat by your plate. I have some questions I want answered, and I figure we might as well get comfortable.
Oh, so the gassing us was just for fun then.
Lieutenant,
Mind yourself, Lieutenant. We're all
Captain.
friends here for the time being.
Captain, it would be best if we spoke in private, in accordance with the Temporal Prime Directive.
I think it's a little bit late for that.
At the moment, as the captain of this vessel, I'm going to address the persons who seem to have knowledge that could end the war several years before it could have ended. So, as your superior officer, you're going to have a nice little sit. You're going to enjoy your lunch, and you're going to explain to me how you did that, and frankly, what are you doing on my ship? Because, as far as I can tell, you don't seem to be from my crew.
That will take some explaining, Captain. However,
don't worry, I can understand big words.
However, I am unable to comply until Lieutenant Lauren leaves the conference room.
She is my chief of engineering. I'd rather not have to re-explain myself to her, since, well, I'm the ranking officer and you are not. If you don't like that, you can enjoy your time in the brig.
Very well, Captain. Please enter my objection to your log.
I'll slide a pad across the table to where Salon, this chair nearest Salon.
That and actually seriously kind of looks down and taps at the conference table and enters in the objection. So noted, Commander.
I am given to understand that the war with the Dominion is still continuing?
Yes. And our Lieutenant Bissell here has informed me that the war, as far as you're concerned, has already ended.
That is accurate. Captain, I am convinced that there has been a violation of the Temporal Prime Directive. The most likely candidates are myself or a member of my away team. We are...
No. That is not strictly true, Commander.
Explain, Lieutenant.
There were parties present on both ships. There were people from the Venture on the Tenshi and people from the Tenshi on the Venture. We were all close together the entire time. Nothing anyone said meant anything to the future. There was nothing, no mention of the war, no mention of anything like that. If people on the Venture, or people from the Venture who were here looked at something or were told something, that could also be a factor. They were on a ship far past their time. Maybe they saw something they shouldn't have. That is also an option.
The Lieutenant is correct, Captain. The only actions of my own that concern me is that the captain of the Venture was able to identify my past self while we were there. This was something the rest of the away team was not aware of. I am not sure which actions caused the change in the timeline, but me and my away team are quite surprised by the turn of events, by the current events. As Lieutenant Bissell indicated, for us, the Dominion War has been over for several years.
And how is this achieved?
The war ended particularly when Deep Space Nine's deputy rejoined the rest of the Changeling Nation, their collective. As a player, I can't remember what the stupid thing was called. The Great Link.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, GM. I think the Athaton gives him a look like he grew a second head, like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't think we ever made it into the Gamma in a serious way.
Well, no, the guy he's talking about wouldn't be on that station.
Cisco was on the station.
No, he's
He
talking about
was,
Odo.
but not
Odo.
Odo. Or did he?
I think Odo came.
Oh, right, he came. Right, I remember now. Yeah.
Odo didn't know why he was there. That probably pre-existed.
Odo was, he didn't know it was there, but I think he was found by Bajorans.
Yeah, that's true.
So he would have been raised by Bajorans and possibly would have been on the station.
Deputy Commander? That furrows his brow at you. Do you mean... Who do you mean? Deputy what?
The changeling, Odo.
Computer, identify person Odo? Deep Space Nine. Pulls up the file, presumably.
Odo, former Chief of Security, Deep Space Nine, deceased.
So much for that plan.
Cause of death, computer? He's a changeling, so I bet we, after Earth.
Yeah.
I kind of just look at the captain.
Yeah, he nods.
Cause of death unknown.
That's the way they do it.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
The war itself was ended with the Treaty of Bajor, signed on Deep Space Nine. It was after a successful, the Allied fleet crossed in Dominion space and engaged the Dominion-Breen alliance in Dominion space. Shortly after the invasion of Cardassia.
That was shortly before the invasion of Cardassia.
The Dominion conquered Cardassia in your time too?
No. Yes, no. Cardassia joined the Dominion immediately.
Why would Cardassia join the... Cardassia is one of our oldest allies. Why would they do that?
Yeah, what self-serving republic would let itself be conquered by it, would willingly follow a Dominion that reminded them of the Union? I mean, a bunch of authoritarian autocrats.
Were the Cardassian Union?
So, wait a minute. So you're saying the Union was a thing in your timeline?
Give us a computer or something that we can look up exactly when things are different. Otherwise, we'll be at this all day.
Captain Lieutenant Vogel has already identified one such point, being the entrance of Bajor to the Federation.
Is Bajor not in the Federation in your time?
They are presently. They joined the Federation 2 years ago, after the Dominion War ended.
Why did they refuse to do that in the 2290s?
Well, yeah, the Kai was very particular. It's one of the crowning moments of the of history.
Federation Day was always a popular one growing up.
We have had, at that time period, if I remember correctly, next to no contact with Bajor. Am I correct, Commander?
Before I forget, computer, grant guest access to the away team. You should be able to access the computer.
No, that wouldn't work.
I assume my career record, I have not been able to review my own personnel file. I imagine, as you know me, I experienced a break in time, Captain?
Yes, that was a very interesting conversation with security. They warned me that something like this might happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen this soon with you. Although soon is relative in time travel.
Captain, prior to the USS Bozeman's disappearance in 2278, we had no formal contact with Bajor.
That doesn't make any sense.
It does. They wish to be independent country or planet. They were their own people.
Well, until the Lieutenant Lauren, was your world ever occupied by the Cardassians?
Well,
No. The
well,
Dominion, but not
technically. Oh, not Cardassian. You're right. Yeah.
the Dominion, but not the Cardassians. The Cardassians are one of our oldest allies. We've been friendly with them for almost 100 years.
Mm.
You telling
Cardassians
they
born.
occupied Bajor?
For quite a long time.
That doesn't make any sense.
Cost the lives of almost 10 million Bajorans before the Cardassians left and turned over, gave Bajor their freedom, and Starfleet took over Deep Space Nine.
They won their freedom back.
Why wouldn't that doesn't make any sense? Why would the Cardassians want to conquer Bajor? And how could they do it?
The Cardassian Union has been one of the Federation's standing enemies until recently.
Wait a minute. What about your 40-year war? The Klingon War. Did the Klingon War happen? Wait, no. You said the divergent point was Bajor joining, so history would be Klingon War would have already happened for you.
Yes.
But
if I'm remembering my history correctly, yes.
Lauren, as I recall, the war started a little after Bajor joined, wasn't it? The Union tried to invade, something to that degree. I'm not up to date on the exact particulars of the war, of the early parts of the war. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, there was a disagreement between the Federation and Cardassia, but it wasn't. Jim, it wasn't over Bajor, was it?
It was due to rising tensions between the Federation and the Cardassian Union, which happened much earlier. Essentially, you think of the Federation-Cardassian conflict in the normal prime timeline that happened during the 2350s to the 2360s, but wasn't. It was much more, much worse.
Much more aggressive.
Yeah,
because the war started way earlier than when Starfleet was. Because by the time the Cardassian War started, the Galaxy class was starting to roll out.
There was one period where we fought the Cardassians, but that was because they were under a military dictatorship. Once they were freed from that, they returned to peaceful and prosperous and friendly ways.
Cardassia only got out of military dictatorship, 5 years ago? Less? 4 years? Something like that.
I'm still confused. How did they manage to conquer Bajor?
Bajor was an independent planet. The Cardassian Union was a several systems spanning force.
And Cardassia's technological level was at least 100 years more advanced than Bajor's. Cardassia occupied the planet. Bajor surrendered quickly.
Bajor just let them in. They didn't really surrender. It's more like the Cardassians in the prime timeline. They kind of guile their way into the Bajoran society.
Don't worry, you can trust us. Everything's fine.
Just immediately took over.
We can help you. We can upgrade your technology. Just let us on your planet, and then
don't mind the tanks.
Left. They didn't leave the planet.
Salon can say it how he wants to because it is important how Salon says it.
Yeah.
The player behind Salon was trying to remember the events. Bajor welcomed the Cardassians and their technology. The Cardassians, over time, strip mined Bajor and put many of their citizens in forced labor camps. The Bajorans rebelled.
I've never known a Cardassian to do something so dishonorable as a stab in the back.
It wasn't so much stabbing you in the back as putting a bag over your head. If you don't see what's coming, you can't stop it.
Sounds like an awful time to live in, Captain.
It's weird. Why would they? What's troubling me is I don't understand why someone would purposely start the Dominion War. Like, why would you extend it? I mean,
It wouldn't be deliberate, I don't imagine, if it was one of us. Starfleet would have no... It wouldn't benefit in anyone Starfleet to have war go longer. It would probably kill more friends and family of ours. Yes?
They didn't give any technology, obviously, Captain, because they came back with everything. They said they didn't take sashes, and if they had given technology to the Federation, the Cardassian War wouldn't have been so bloody.
It wouldn't have affected Bajor. Federation Bajor still would... It's something that happened there.
which means one of the Venture stole something from the ship then.
They wouldn't have a reason to... Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
You-
back then,
It's-
discipline was lower. They weren't quite as. There was a lot more cowboys back then than we would put up with now. Hence the enhanced procedures you went through.
I think it's a moot point, Captain, though. I think we should try to return them to their time. They obviously don't belong here.
It's...
Well, that's just it. We don't know how to return them without causing a whole new problem, and I'm not about to greenlight a mission that could make the situation worse.
Captain, the slingshot maneuver is an open secret.
That's correct, Lieutenant. But before we can return to the past to correct the changes in the timeline, we must diagnose how the changes came about so that it may be corrected.
Oh, no one said anything about correcting anything.
You said the Dominion War is still going on. We corrected it's not. It's over.
I think, Captain, we should get them I think we should try to get them to a point where their Dominion War is not going on, but I don't want them to affect our timeline.
Looking at your timeline, Earth is never occupied.
And the casualties on Bajor twice, double what they were by timeline.
What you're suggesting, though, is we accept a timeline in which Bajor didn't even get a chance to fight back. At least now we have a chance.
You did fight back. That's how you got free.
That's not what I mean.
You would rather this, where you fight the Dominion and lose many, many more people, and then Earth loses many, many more people. More people die everywhere.
I don't believe that lives have comparable value. You can't put one life on one side of the scale and two lives on the other side of the scale and balance the scale.
And you put 10 million lives on one side of that scale, Lieutenant.
One life is as valuable as 10 million. Lives don't have value like that. They're not commodities you can trade and balance in equations.
But
Officers.
Someone has done that already.
Officers. Patton finally turns around. Look, we all have personal reasons why we would like things to be the way they are or the way they were. I imagine you're very attached to the way things happened in your timeline. And there are certain things that we are attached to here. I have a duty at present to maintain the timeline we have and to not imperil the war effort. However, this isn't a ship of one person, this is a ship of many. So, if you would like, I will make a request of the Admiralty to see if they will approve our mending of course and look into your time travel problem. Otherwise, I expect you to do one of two things. Return to duties and help us save the people we are responsible for now, today. Or join the refugee list with everybody else.
There is one other thing to consider, Captain. With the death of Constable Odo, it may not be possible to end this war.
I fought the Borg on 2 different occasions, Commander. I've watched many people believe that hope wasn't an option, but we've prevailed each time. To date, we've been able to hold the Dominion, and one by one we will overcome them.
We've cut them off. They have no retreat anymore.
Now, your option, if it ends the war sooner, well, I can see someone being attracted to that idea. If we could use it in this timeline, that's something I could sell to the Admiralty. That's something I can sell to the Council. But explaining to the Bajoran counselor that we're going to have to set them back almost a century of occupation and devastation for our Cardassian council member to be, well, not council member, our observer, I keep calling him that, to tell him that the Union will rise again, like, we have to believe in hope.
I have actually a thought, which is concerning to me. I'm supposed to be on your ship, correct? I'm not just some strange face.
No, you're all part of my crew. You all served with me. We've watched our friends die. We've saved some of our friends.
Your records say Earth fell. I was on Earth, so...
You distinguished yourself. You're one of the few people who managed to escape.
Right.
I actually remember I hit you a few times. It was quite a friendly brawl for a bit. I blamed you for Rama's death, but you didn't know her. And he waves his hand.
Right.
But that's past. We've gotten over that since then. Well, I have. I don't know if you did. He smiles a little bit, but the smile just dies away.
I don't remember it. Never happened.
Well, good. Only one of us is uncomfortable at that conversation.
We met after the Tereshkova's destruction when I was posted to the Tenshi.
Destruction.
It seems like even in a different timeline, Elder loses ships.
Oh.
It was for good purpose. Classified purpose, but good purpose.
Yeah, that tracks. Look, I'm not saying you can't try to look into this and research this on your time. I'll even give you a full shift to think about what you want to do, because I have to talk to the Admiralty anyway and figure out what they want to do with this information. But I would suggest to you that you compare notes, your notes, our notes, and try to figure out, and the Venture's notes, because we should have their ship logs, so we should be able to pull them up and figure out who was going where and why. If one of us did it, then we're going to see nothing. When the Venture did it, it'll be recorded either in the Federation travel logs or in the ship records, unless someone was being very, very clever. But my estimation of your abilities, I assume, is similar to my officers. At least I hope so. That is, in your case, you better hope so, because the only way we're going to get green lit on this is if we have a clear course of action, because I'm not going to put my signature next to anything that's just blindly going back and hoping we can fix everything. I want to have a target locked in and ready to fire on with everything we have, if that's what we're doing. If we're not, well, at least we haven't figured out what you're going to do, or what could be done.
Can we, Captain, agree between the away team, ourselves, and hopefully you're able to convince the Admiralty that the first option should be to preserve both timelines?
I need someone with a science score of higher than 3 to make an insight or reason science. Difficulty
Not me.
2.
That
You
is
said
just Vogel.
insight.
Or reason plus science difficulty of 2.
Yeah, if higher than 3 means 4 or 5, then yeah, I think it's just Vogel.
We have no momentum, huh? I'll give you a threat. Shit.
You normally would hit those.
Do you wish to succeed at cost?
I guess.
You blow up. That's the cost.
I can't fix that.
That's what transporters are for. We just make a clone.
Take the Captain Kirk approach and just slingshot it around the sun every time something goes wrong and go back in time and fix it. Because I don't know whose responsibility it is to clean Officer out of carpet, but I don't think it's me, and I don't want to do that.
You're the engineer,
Operations.
it's yours.
Oh, that is Vogel's department, but Vogel won't be there to do it or oversee
Nope.
it.
Her successor will have to clean it up.
From my understanding of temporal mechanics, the other timeline is totally gone. The only way we could restore it is if we go back and prevent the event that caused this.
That's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be a real hard sell. I wish you hadn't said that, Vogel. I really do. Shoot. But like any other temporal event, we can shift things around.
At least
Captain-
the 5 of you can go ahead and get started on solving this.
Figure out what the divergent point is, and we can see about trying to save the Cardassians and the Bajorans while still preventing this terrible war. But the first step is getting that divergence point. If we can't give the Admiralty somewhere to shoot, then they're not going to let us diverge from our survey mission.
I have thought, might be stupid thought, because I don't know how this works exactly, but the 5 of us, we all remember something very different. If it was one of us, then maybe someone from your timeline looking into our heads would spot what the problem would be. Some information that's common to you people that isn't to us.
I need to take care of something first, but I will come down to the lab and help you.
The other side of that coin is looking into some of you and seeing what it might stick out to us.
We can make that happen.
The use of telepathic abilities and for this type of purpose is ethically a slippery slope.
If it is, if it's forced, right? That's only if it's forced. If it's willing, then there's no problem.
True. But consider this. If the changes in the timeline were caused by someone other than the 5 of us, the person that caused the change will not remember it because they will not have experienced it.
That's why I sincerely believe it must be someone on the Venture. I can't imagine anyone on the Tenshi. I mean, I don't mean to speak for your timeline, but I imagine you don't lack such discipline that your officers flagrantly disobey. Well, actually, no, I believe it now that I think about it. You seem to be a bit...
Anyways, going back in time requires us to prevent the action, so even if we're not exactly sure what we have to fix, if we can narrow it down to a couple of people, then you have a shot, and maybe that's something the Admiralty will take. Lauren is shifting a bunch, looking like she wants this meeting to end now. And there's a lot of laser eyes at the captain.
I'm curious, is it the Admiralty that is important that we should report to, or is it to the Department of Temporal Investigation, Captain?
We're at war, Commander. We report to our superiors. They go through the proper chain of command. It's a very strict hierarchy, and due to possibility of infiltrators and security threats. The various attacks by changelings have put things in a very strict regimen since the Bozeman was flying. We can't risk information going. We can't risk this sort of information just being put out across the civilian government until the Starfleet security has a chance to look at it. There's procedures, and these procedures keep us safe from attacks.
Understood, Captain. And perhaps it is best if I take a temporary leave of absence while I catch up.
I'm giving you all one cycle to figure out whether or not you can continue your duties aboard this ship, or if you want to be left off back to civilian life. Because at the moment, I'm not currently missing most of my senior staff, and I'm giving you, I think rather generously, a full day to figure out what the divergence point is and how we're going to come at it, so I can tell that to the Admiralty and possibly give you a fighting chance. Because right now, there's nothing to sign for. It's a pipe dream. So, leave of absence for one day, but beyond that, I need crew that can be ready for a fight and help with the ongoing battle to save lives. If you can't do that, then I need someone who will.
Well, if I only have one cycle, Captain, then I suggest me and my away team get started.
Dismissed.
Captain, I need a word of the highest urgency.
You can stay, Lieutenant Lauren. Everyone else, on you go. Be sure to recycle. Don't waste don't waste food or power, for that matter.
Or we'll look at the members of his former away team. Let us convene and names a nearby computer lab.
Well, once they leave, I'll say, Captain, I have to ask that we don't, under any circumstance, entertain an idea which would force Bajor to go through something like what they described. Being stabbed in the back by an ally. At least now we can fight on our own 2 feet of our own accord. But to be so humiliated.
That's why I want, once they find the divergence point, the plan is to try to, we're going to prioritize our timeline because that's our duty, Lieutenant. As much as I would prefer Earth not to be invaded, for reasons I'm not going to get into, I have to put the Federation first. That includes Bajor, that includes Cardassia. So, even though they're not Federation members, but they might as well be, as much as the Klingons are part of the Federation security structure. So, we'll get them to work, and if these people are willing to help do their part for the Federation, then great. If not, then there's plenty of transports that can put them elsewhere in the Federation to be productive.
I know this is going to ruin our relationship, but Captain, I'll resign before I force that humiliation on Bajor. I can't be responsible for something like that.
Well, I understand that, Lieutenant. That's why when I throw this at the Admiralty, that's why I imagine they're going to agree with the same plan I have, that it's about preserving as much of what we have while lessening the damage that we've already suffered. We've already been allies with the Cardassians. They've been free of their union for so long. Bajor's been members of ours for so long. Things have been pretty well. The fact that the war's gone on longer, well, maybe they just lack discipline on their side. I don't know. But it's not my job to save their timeline. It's my job to save this one. But that all said, the Admiralty has experts. And believe me, if they gave the green light to go out to wipe Kate off the face of the galaxy or make it suffer, I wouldn't exactly be enthused to do that duty either. So let's do what we can with what we have now. And let's make sure the Admiralty makes the correct decision as far as we're concerned. Yes? I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus, Lieutenant. It's not my job.
Aye, Captain. I'll head down and start helping them with this understanding. And I'll leave. Unless you start to say something.
As we're kind of walking up, by the way, even though they're guests, make sure they have some of those security belts. Last thing I need is for a hole to be punched in us and them all be sucked out into space. Can't imagine what fool doesn't give security belts.
Even Oh, go ahead.
Finish your conversation, but before you leave, we're gonna go a little backwards in time. So.
I was gonna say, even if you weren't at war, it would still make sense to have anti-compression belts. And then that's all I was gonna say.
While that conversation is going on, Solon, as you exit the room, you find Dr. Mountain and the other Vulcan you don't recognize. And she kind of stops you. Commander.
Can I help you, Doc?
Commander Solon, this is Dr. Tapel.
Dr. Mountain, could you please just give us some privacy? Thank you. Do you truly not remember me?
I do not believe I have made your acquaintance, Doctor.
That is unfortunate.
I assume that you know me.
Yes, I am your wife. We have been married for 3 years.
That is interesting. How did we meet?
At a battle engagement outside of Earth, your vessel rescued mine. Well, what remains of my vessel.
You were aboard the Crazy Horse.
For a time, yes.
It would be interested to learn more of our relationship, Doctor. If I am still here tomorrow, I would like to discuss it with you.
As would I. Shall I request separate quarters for the time being? Until you adjust.
No, if we are married and I stay in this timeline, it's best that I learn to know my wife.
A most logical conclusion.
In the meantime, the captain has given me only one day to discover what has happened. If I am successful, all of this may not have happened. If I am unsuccessful, I I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
As would I. She kind of places 2 fingers on the temple of your side of your face. Good luck.
Thank you, Doctor. Slav will wander off after his away team, slightly confused for a Vulcan.
Commander,
Doctor,
well, as you hope your situation gets sorted out properly, the captain has ordered me to do a full scan of you and your away team to determine what, if anything, is the difference between you and what seems to be the rest of us. I would like you and your team's cooperation in this. I'll talk to the captain about specifics.
I understand, Doctor. The difference between my away team and the rest of the crew, however, is due to a divergence in time.
That was
Will
one of
be-
my suppositions.
I am sure we are going to be willing to cooperate. Give us the same 24 hours the captain just gave us, and then I would be more than cooperative.
I will run it by the captain.
If I can walk out, I can explain to the doctor that we jumped past that.
Indeed. Well, as the captain says,
Thank you, Doctor, if you don't mind.
as you will.
And then Salon's going to follow his away team.
Lieutenant, what do you make of that?
Doctor, I think we've already discovered what we were worried about before. I don't think there's any need to look into them. They're not our
That's
people.
fine. Can we get our people back is the question.
It seems like we're going to have to annihilate a universe of people to get their people or our people.
Well,
The captain is in his office talking with the Admiralty on whose universe to destroy.
what a choice. None of the above is my choice. If we can figure out a way to get them to stop our away team from ever going any farther forward as they are themselves, maybe they can just stop the whole thing from happening in the first place. And we'll get our away team back.
I'll put my arm on the doctor, or my hand on the doctor's shoulder and say, Doctor, we already annihilated their universe. They want to get it back. That's the issue. We can't. It's an either or choice. We can't get both of them. But if you want to help see which one we do get back, you can come down to the med bay with me. There's probably going to be an unsanctioned mind meld.
Yeah, I think that would be a logical next step. I'm with you, Lieutenant.
I'll go down after the away team.
As the two of you are heading down towards the away team, get over to the captain in his ready room.
I'm gonna type in for an encrypted priority to call to the admiral for the fleet.
You hear the typical door chime.
Who is it? Oh,
You asked to see me, Captain.
Yes. Come in. Just double checking something real quick before I say anything. All right, officer. Well, I have some good news for you, finally. I was able to keep my promise. I did get your sister back. But at the same time, I didn't. It would seem that the Vogel that we got back is from an alternate timeline.
Sorry, I don't understand, Captain.
It's headache-inducing, but the long and short of it is that she's a Vogel who probably has different memories than you, and the Vogel that you knew. Now she's convinced, and most of the away team, are convinced that they want their timeline back. But it is our duty to protect this timeline. And I want you to remind your sister of her duty, not just to Starfleet, not just to the Federation, but to her family, you, and those sacrifices back in Earth. Now, this is a somewhat unsavory request, I understand. It's not common to have to talk one's family into maintaining their oaths of office, but the more that are on the ship's side, the better. And I want your help with that, Ensign.
Of course, Captain. Anything I could do to help my sister.
Do you have any problems with this order, Ensign? You won't be reprimanded if so. You're allowed to object to orders, despite popular belief.
I'll remind her of her duty, sir.
Very well, Ensign. They're in science room 2. I'll have you assigned to help them narrow it down. They'll explain the particulars of it. It's temporal mechanics. He holds his hands up. Don't ask me for details. I barely understand half of it. And I have to have a phone call with an admiral about it, so if you don't mind, Ensign.
Of course, Captain. I will head down there
Dismissed.
immediately. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from a one Admiral Tavis from Vulcan.
Standby computer. Right. Proceed.
On the screen appears a Vulcan Admiral, one Admiral Tavis, the one you actually met, a Lieutenant Commander Tavis, not that long ago, a few hours ago actually, but slightly older, more wrinkles. I see the temporal event has happened.
Yes, Admiral. I wasn't quite expecting you to pick up. Not that I don't appreciate you calling me back. What can you tell me about this event that isn't classified beyond my security level, sir?
The events proceeded. We, as you are well aware by now, we did transport back to the Venture and proceeded along our mission. We headed back to Deep Space 17 for repairs on our deflector dish, as well as some outer hull damage from the event. But is there a problem, Captain? Remember, though, if you're inquiring, though, Captain Avery's report was rather vague at the.
Yes, it
She
was.
informed me to keep it, though, under Commander Solon's request.
Computer, verify that the Admiral security clearance is valid for knowing the operations of USS Tenshi.
Confirmed. Admiral Tavis, head of Vulcan security forces.
Sorry for the check, Admiral, but you're gonna want to see this. I was about to report this to my Admiral, but this is gonna be kicked to you eventually anyway, and I think you'll know more about this than my superior will. And I send the report on what we've learned so far, and Patton's recommendations as to what he wants to do.
He goes over the report as a kind of awkward silence.
Sorry, I didn't clarify some of the terms. I just ported the audio over from the conference room.
Troubling.
Indeed, sir.
I am not aware of such knowledge from the Tenchi among the crew of the Venture.
Well, as of right now, sir, I'm going to request that you could provide me and my ship with access to any and all records regarding the venture and the movements of the crew. I'm trying to eliminate. Somebody violated the temporal prime directive here, and if we need to figure out what the divergence point is. If we're lucky, it's someone on the venture, and it's something we can go back in time and fix. We can manipulate to the benefit of the Federation. If it's someone from the Tenshi, then I'd rather know that sooner rather than later. And it's unbecoming of a captain to suspect his subordinates too much.
This will be a most difficult task to determine who is the culprit of the divergence in the timeline. Any actions such as part of your crew may have been inadvertently erased.
That's my worry. If it's something on the Tenshi, if it was someone on the Tenshi, I'm not sure how we'd figure out what we did. I have no idea what the protocols are. I'd have to debrief them on how their Federation even works. 100 years is a long time to establish your policies. That's why I'm hoping we get lucky in the venture. If someone on the venture saw something, or maybe they said something that they aren't reporting to us. It's hard to say, sir, but my estimation is that I think this is worth looking into, if only because we could end this war sooner while still preserving our allies. Which I know is violating temporal prime directive to violate a temporal prime directive, but if it's already violated, I think it's better for us to violate it in our favor rather than against our favor.
I will give you all records of the USS Venture that I can. In fact, I will talk to one of the other surviving members of the senior staff, see if they have any insight. For now, let's maintain a classification on this. You are only to report to me on this.
Computer, note the order from the Admiral. Lock all relevant information and communication regarding this file to this flag officer. And relevant subordinates, etc., etc. He waves his hand because he knows the computer's going to clue in what he's getting at.
For now, Captain, you are ordered to maintain your current mission while conducting this investigation.
What do I tell my Admiral, sir? they're not going to be terribly thrilled. I tell them that it's classified. Just point them at the number, or he shrugged. I've never told an admiral that it's classified before.
As Captain Everyone says, sometimes you do not need to report things.
Understood, sir.
Good luck, Captain.
Aye, sir.
Tavis out.
Computer disregard call to Admiralty at present. Oh. He looks at a picture briefly and then sighs and then heads out to the bridge to resume his shift. A little more depressed than he was 5 minutes ago. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. I blame Solon.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Hey.
Just insert, exchange Canada with Bajor.
I mean, you're half.
As you're about to head into the science lab, Sarah, Lieutenant Vogel,
I'll look at where my name was called.
It's your voice, so
Yeah. I'll look at her and have the expression of like I've just seen a ghost. Annika?
at least you remember me. Can we talk?
How is this possible?
Maybe we should talk.
I still don't understand how this is possible.
Um, been on board this ship since you were transferred here. I assigned my was able to get a crew listing as an ensign aboard this ship and join Starfleet. Can we talk in private?
But what about your planet, the Dark Ones?
What about the Dark Ones? They never came. I have not encountered them for over a year now. Not since the Tereskova.
I'm sorry, but in my timeline, you became one of them. This is just a bit of a shock.
She looks very perplexed. I'm sorry, I would never become one of them. And you get like a wave of concern, like sadness, in the kind of like the back of your mind, like you're feeling her again.
Kind of touched the back of my head. How is this possible?
How could you give this up? It's not so bad on this timeline. It's that war, but who knows what could be different here. Right, Commander?
Were you speaking to me, Doctor?
I was including you in the thought. Lieutenant Vogel's sister and your wife. This is what we're here for, isn't it? To discover which timeline is better, correct?
I
Not
don't
a
know that
violation.
sister was the word you were looking for, Doctor.
Oh, well. Sorry. Insert word.
I don't think they've made that word yet.
Okay.
Curious, Doctor. It is not a matter of which timeline is better, but which one is proper.
And we get to decide that together.
That's for the captain to decide. We're just here to give him options,
Absolutely.
so they can make a decision.
I'll begin the calculations.
First, Doctor, we got to figure out what's the difference. That's the mind melding, and that's what we need your help for.
I don't believe the use of telepathic abilities will be of any benefit, Lieutenant.
Oh, I thought you had suggested it, Commander, to figure out what everyone knew.
It was not my suggestion. In fact, I countered that suggestion by noting that unless the change in the timeline was caused by an action of one of my away team, no one else currently aboard the Tenshi would have remembered a specific action that caused a change, even had they done the action.
Well, we can't look into what the crew of your Tenshi did, so let's start by looking over everything that the crew of the Venture did.
I suggest that we trace the career path. I assume there were 5 officers from the Venture aboard the Tenshi.
There were, and I will give their names because I personally met all of them, so I'll just list their names to you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Lieutenant Sursa, can you trace the career trajectories of these 5 officers from the Venture?
I can do my best. You actually need to touch a panel.
If she is a security officer, she could do it through she would have security access to their personnel files.
Yeah, but we removed that.
My clearance got wiped. I have guest clearance.
Yeah, when you run into an issue, I'll step in and provide access.
Before we continue on that, Vogel, you're still in a conversation with your twin.
Yes. Still looking like I'm seeing a ghost. I'll let her talk first.
She walks up slowly up to you and then embraces and gives you a hug. I'm not sure what happened in your timeline, but I'm here. I'm here now.
After a while, I'll embrace her back. And then I'll finally say, so did all of the events I remember not happen?
You found me on Starbase 21.
I remember that. And then the melding.
Captain Elder almost killed you and himself.
And he would have if it wasn't for you and your abilities. I remember us giving them back. Or giving them up, rather.
After the battle with the Dominion at Zastra, we were allowed to keep some of our abilities. Mother felt it was best to help us in our fight against the Dominion and defend the Alpha Quadrant.
So over Zastra, we fought the Dominion and not the Dark Ones.
No, yes, we fought the Dominion. The Dark Ones did come, but their ships were destroyed by the Dominion.
So the events on, and I'll put my hand, my head in my hand, like kind of on my cheek, like resting it. So the events on the planet never happened, and you were never corrupted.
No.
So what else is different?
An ensign, just recent. I'll give you that. I help with in the medical department. I have a knack for it.
I see you are communicating better than what I remember.
Thanks to you. Um,
And then she'll just kind of like look away and say, damn it. Yeah, we could probably leave it there with her just saying "damn it."
If you feel like you need to return, then I'll help you. I don't want to lose you. You nearly died um, on our last engagement with the Dominion.
How does the war go?
For now, both sides are at a standstill. Engagements along a line that neither side can't seem to break.
I don't know which choice is the correct choice. On the one hand, it seems like the galaxy is still suffering through a Dominion war. But on the other, in this one, I never lose you.
Perhaps we try to enjoy the time that we have.
At
No
that,
matter
I
the
can agree.
choice.
We don't even know if it is possible to return things to how I remember it and how my team remembers it. We may very well be stuck here. And as much as I would love to remain here, I at least owe it to whatever version, whatever galaxy I did come from, to try to find an answer to this.
If it's important to you, then it's important to me, and I will help you out.
Thank you, Annika.
She smiles warmly at you.
Come, the others are waiting for us, I'm sure.
She nods and follows you into the science lab. All right.
Good, Ensign. I'm glad you're here to help.
So, what do you guys wish to start with?
I think we're looking over the away team from the venture and tracking their career paths.
Give me insight, con, difficulty of 1.
Investigative techniques.
I will take
Do you get an assist from the computer?
that. Yeah, computers plus con from the ship.
Stand by. Computers com. Computers com.
Gain a momentum. All right. As you're going through the logs, you find up a particular log as you pull up from the USS Venture shortly after Return of the Away Team. Apparently it did not come up. Sound effects. Computer, begin recording Captain's personal log. Well, everything went okay. At least the plan. Well, I can't go into too much details on this. It appears that I would have gotten my way team back safe and sound, though at great cost to the ship. Our main deflector dish is, well, rather beaten up from the incident, and we have secondary breaches on different parts of the saucer section and the stardive section. I have ordered Commander Tavis to head to Deep Space 17 for a full repair on the main deflector array in the outer hull. Though I can't say for certain, some of them, well, they won't talk about the incident, where at least one of them seemed unpleasant. Perhaps sometime they'll come forward with some information. And personal log.
Computer, other than Commander Tavis, are any of the 5 members of the Venture that were aboard the Tenshi, are they still alive?
Checking. Commander Aurora Wilkinson. Currently retired. Location Earth.
What was her position aboard the Venture?
Communications officer. From Stardate 7257. Sorry. Be actually a little earlier. Stardate 69312. Stardate 9217.
Did that officer, or any of the 5 officers that were aboard, Venture officers that had come to the Tenshi through time, did any of them travel to Bajor at any point?
Unable to comply. Level 10 or higher is required to access files.
Lieutenant Lauren, do you think the captain could acquire that information for us?
What does level 5 mean?
Level captain or higher. It's like the highest level outside, like on a ship. So a commanding officer or higher can access it.
All right. I'll pull up the file and put it in a look. Or I'll find out the location of the file and I'll say, Lauren to the captain.
Captain, here, go ahead.
Sending you the location of a file. I need it decrypted for our purposes for the mission you sent us down here for.
Stand by. I'm gonna open the file and preview it to make sure there's nothing strategic or of military importance to the war effort, that sort of thing. He's not even reading in detail. He's just making sure there's nothing like super important in there that needs to be divulged. Which, as I understand it, it's stuff from like 100 years ago. So
You automatically realize that it's classified, but it is a very old classification. So,
computer, who authorized the classification?
one second, I gotta think of an old admiral.
Kirk was an admiral.
Not at that point in time for that file.
Not yet.
No, it's after.
Oh, it's after Onward. Oh, your favorite admiral from the Argo days.
Haggard.
Haggard's not an admiral yet.
He's a captain still, yeah. Malcolm? No.
Admiral Robert Bennett, Starfleet Command.
Okay. Reason for classification, if listed?
Per request of planetary body that which involved parties.
Computer, can you clarify? I'm not sure I understand. You're saying a planet requested them to classify this?
Correct.
Which planet, computer?
Unable to comply. Level 11
Why?
access is required.
God
Access file.
damn it. He looks around the bridge as he realizes he kind of cursed in front of everybody briefly and kind of right. Well, there's nothing in here I need to worry about. Computer, patch down the encrypted file to the care of Lauren, Lieutenant Lauren. Shoot up a request to Admiral regarding this mission for request to unclassify. Basically sending it back to the Vulcan, who basically said, only tell me. It's like, okay, well, here's a file I can't open. You open it.
No, just you classified it. You can't open, but
yeah, the parts I can't classify. It's like the rest of it I've already done it. That part I can get. There you go, Lieutenant. You should have some of it declassified. There's a bit more there that I can't get at, but I'm going to see if I can ask some friends of mine to get it unclassified. So I'll get back to you once I know more.
If
Something strange is going on here, Lieutenant.
If it would take too long, sir, I can, well, you know.
That won't be necessary for now. My contact should be able to open it, or at least tell me what it is what's behind door number 3.
Very well, Lauren out. Then we'll look at the file that's now opened.
GMBRB.
Yeah. So has anyone shot each other yet? While I was away?
The doctor's ready to start brawling.
I'll take one punch. He'll be down. Let's go.
I have a good fitness, thank you very much.
Just turns into a
Fitness,
brawl in there.
yeah, fitness doesn't count for anything in a fight.
It's
Uh,
daring security, my lad.
Oh, well.
Fitness
Unless
helps
you
with
pull out a
your
phaser,
stress.
then it's control.
And I've got a mean right hook.
That's why you just hypo him. Never fight security with security. Just fight with your medical score.
That's right. And sleep.
Yeah. I just happen to have this neural caliper here. Come here, kitty.
Meow.
So, not Salon's. The captain's partner's dead.
Yep.
Does the captain have any children?
Nope.
This is all highly unfortunate. I had a grand plan to moralize at the captain and let the captain moralize back over comparing me having to reverse the timeline and let Bajor be conquered by the Cardassians to you giving up your partner. But
Well, he
it was
has his
stolen
reasons
from
for.
me.
He has his reasons that need to be.
No, I expected you to be like on the other side and have to convince you.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm on your side on this one for different reasons than.
I'm slightly frustrated that you're on my side and I didn't get to we didn't get to argue over it.
Well, hey, someone could change my mind. I don't know. And then you have to change me back. So.
Okay, so the file has been unsealed.
Confetti. Sorry.
You can probably just tell us all we're all standing there.
Which part of the information you were trying to get from the file? So I can just clarify, make sure I put in the proper terms.
Well, how much? I guess we asked first.
Yeah,
you
okay.
track those 5 officers.
In the file, it shows that all 5 officers, as well as additional ones, the USS Venture, had traveled to Bajor.
All of them did?
All of them did. On stardate 9182.
How long after that was the mission? Like how long before that was the mission?
What mission?
Like how long after the whole temporal event did they go to Bajor?
Oh, that's several years. Literally 20 years had passed.
What was their assignment to Bajor?
To investigate some missing cargo vessels in the area.
So like 20 years later, they were all still serving on the same ship?
To a degree. Yes.
Okay, and they actually had a legit mission to go to Bajor for?
Yes.
Did any of them take shore leave on Bajor?
Captain Avery.
That's your prime suspect.
I'm assuming this is before the Federation would have had regular contact with Bajor anyway, by a significant margin.
Well, no, this is a Federation starship going to Bajor.
On the list, though, it also says Commander Wilkinson, Commander Chapman.
Wasn't Wilkinson the one that's still alive?
Yes.
Do we know that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. I didn't know if that was just the captain or not.
Can we get access to the captain's log from the mission and the personal logs of the people that went to Bajor?
Please specify.
Begin with the captain's log from the mission to from their trip to Bajor.
Record not found.
Someone doesn't want us to find out.
What about the executive officer's log?
Commander Tavis log. Stardate. 9-2. Blah blah blah. The Venture is in orbit around Bajor, a world we have limited contact with. The captain and a small number of the Venture crew have ventured down to the planet to discuss with the Bajoran government on whereabouts of local cargo vessels that were inbound for Bajor that have gone missing. I expect their return to be no later than 4 hours from now if everything does go the correct way.
Is this before this timeline's Bajorans asked to join the Federation, or after?
It is before.
Okay.
How long before?
Almost like 100 years.
No,
5
this
years.
timeline is in your timeline.
5 years.
Oh, my bad.
5 years before Bajor joins the Federation. For record, it's 2292 from the log.
The manifest said there was another commander. There's normally not two commanders on a starship. Not even the largest starships have two commanders. So, are they listed as part of the crew, or they have some other task? I think it's
Most of it's the senior officers. They've been promoted up to commander. So, most of them were, that's actually more common for crew members who've been long serving together, especially over a decade or longer.
It's due to the age of the crew and the ship. Is there any logs on the commander that went to the surface?
Files not found.
Can I do an analysis and see if they existed at one point? Like if someone made a log and then it was deleted, or
To your best knowledge, there's no record of a log ever being created.
Your Bajor became part of the Federation 5 years afterwards. They might have made a log at the time, and we should have access to it. Potentially.
I'll look for any logs made by members of the crew around the time Bajor became a member of the Federation.
Must mean logs from Bajor itself.
Insight Con difficulty of 2.
Oh. Am I the one doing this? I think.
I have a bad con.
Okay, yeah, alright. Investigative techniques, I'm assuming.
Yeah, ship is assisting with computers con.
Alright, Insight Con.
Computers. Con.
Have a momentum.
No. It's mine.
Okay.
4 momentum gained.
I'm apparently an investigator. There is no apparently there. I am an investigator.
That's kind of your job, actually.
I'm a different kind of security person, okay?
One gold shirt's the same as the other. Wait, that doesn't work.
There can only be one gold shirt. Fine. Which is not a great thing to say in the room of like 3 or 4 gold shirts.
And only one of them is a security gold shirt.
Me and Terrell are on the same team, though. Or we were until I tried to interrogate him, I think.
Until you gassed him.
That would be a difficult year-end review. Like, I see you've really worked on your warp core maintenance and all this, but you might come after me if I promote you because I gassed you that one time.
Man, those Bajorans hold a grudge.
I'm not afraid about
This
me holding the grudge. I'm afraid about the people I gassed holding a grudge. I'm guessing since I gassed Salon, I can say goodbye to ever making Lieutenant Commander.
Holding grudges is illogical.
Thankfully for you, he has culinary.
I don't.
Yeah. Cajuns known for their calm response to being angered. I mean, they're not Klingons, but
So not accurate, but get the point. Captain Avery's log, personal log, stardate 9781.7. I am surprised my chat from a while ago with Kai Kara. She was quite instrumental, I guess, in persuading her people to join the Federation. I guess that this we got really changed their minds. I just hope we did the right thing. End log.
Well, that is proof. And the commander that went down to the surface with her was one of the ones that was aboard our vessel.
Wilkinson, I believe.
So she found out something. She told the captain. They went to Bajor. They changed things, and here we are.
The problem is, we're now at a dead end. We know they got the disc, but there's no way to find out who gave it to them.
Who gave it to them, or if they looked it up themselves?
We should contact this retired Commander Wilkinson. See what she remembers. Though, if she was involved, if somehow she got that information from our time, and then delivered to the Bajorans, I doubt she will tell us the truth.
It's possible.
Lauren to the captain.
Captain here, go ahead.
We've narrowed things down. We think we need to talk to Wilkinson. She's a commander in what we're looking at, but I'm not sure if she's still in Starfleet or still alive. But I'm sure you're aware of who we're talking about.
According to the file, she is alive on Earth and retired.
If anyone can persuade her, you can, Captain. You probably have the authority, and you may have an admiral in your pocket if you can.
Interesting. Very well. Stand by. I'll see if I can get a hold of them. Wilkinson, was it?
Yes, Captain, but if you're able to contact her, may be present during the conversation.
I'll let you know if I can get in contact with them, Commander. Bridge out. Upspring the maintain current course. I have another phone call to do. He walks in and just says to the computer, call back the Admiral for this mission. Computer.
Few moments pass by. Captain Thatton, as Admiral Tavis appears on screen.
Were you able to get in contact with your friend Wilkinson, sir?
I made contact with a family member of hers, her great-granddaughter. Aurora is not in good health.
Well, that's... Sorry to hear that. It would seem, sir, that the research team we have on this wishes to reach out to them, but I remembered that you were reaching out to them. Wasn't sure if I wanted to connect them together without your say-so, sir. No need to step over your toes and all that.
She is in the later stages of Alzheimer's. Her memory is not what it used to be.
Huh. Any word on that declassification regarding the planet on the file, sir?
The planet in question is Bejor.
Oh, sir, I was hoping you were going to say that. Oh,
Apparently
makes sense, I suppose.
Apparently at the bequest of the religious leader at the time, Kai Kara.
Well, sir, it seems their investigation, independent of our influence, has led them to us. Are they going to get anything from the Wilkinson family? You think, sir?
If she's holding any secrets, she's taking that with her to her grave. I normally don't use such tactics, but a mind meld could be possible. Perhaps to give her some brief moments of clarity. It's usually something we do when elderly Vulcans begin symptoms of the Benzar syndrome.
Well, sir, you know that I'm not one to suggest anything that violates the standing directives. But I might recommend that we get what information we can, sir. If this could be the way that the war ends sooner, then whatever intel we can get may be pertinent. I mean, if need be, of course, it would take a bit. I think it'd be best to get permission from the family, of course, since they're probably the ones taking care of her medical needs and such. But I hate to press them, but I think the needs of the Federation are outweighing the needs of the citizen at the moment. But of course, sir, that is not for me to decide. That is just my recommendation, sir.
For now, though, I cannot divert you from your current mission, Captain. However, I will make a request to place your vessel temporarily under my command. I cannot currently, at present, I cannot currently leave Vulcan.
So the only people who would be clear to do this would be the Vulcans aboard here with mind meld capabilities and training, who also have enough security clearance.
I prefer to keep this as small as possible on the know-how.
So that would leave it with the medical staff. So that would be... excuse me, sir. I just have to pull up names here. Well, primarily Commander Solon and his wife would be the two primary persons who might be able to initiate a mind meld, assuming this Solon is able to is trained in that sort of thing. But I know the medical officer is, so. About how long do you think we'll need to wait before we can divert, sir?
I will contact you as soon as possible. There is quite a lot of, as you humans say, or as the humans say, paperwork.
Yes, well, we can... It's the systems that defend us from the infiltrator, of course. He shrugs, as if saying something someone else said to him. Very good, sir. In which case, sir, I did offer the people from the other timeline the option to leave the ship, but it sounds like we're going to need them if we're going to try to do this divergence manipulation. Or indeed, if we need... if my medical officer can't do it, then I may have to turn to Solon to do this.
In the meantime, if you hear anything, until you hear from me again, continue your investigation. You may uncover other useful bits in the logs.
Aye, sir.
Admiral Tevis out.
Oh, they're going to love this. Captain to Science Lab. 2.
Go ahead, Captain.
Well, unfortunately, it seems contact is able to be made with the family. However, they are... The person you want to talk to is medically indisposed. I'm currently working on a way to see if we can make contact with the family ourselves and see if we can get some more information. But at present, continue your investigation. If I can get more information, I will pass it along.
Captain, just as a addition, I don't know if we need to go too much further. We know what they received that caused this problem. And we know the 5 suspects who could have received it. We should have enough information if we were able to restore the away team that they could prevent the timeline from being stopped on their side.
So you're saying we can go after the divergence point as is?
I think we have enough information if that's the way Command wants to go.
Very well then. Thank you for your work, everybody. And when I get orders, I will pass them on. Otherwise, enjoy your day. Captain out.
That doesn't make our decision any easier, though. But if you're still going to be around, Lieutenant Sarissa, I've been enjoying our security practices in the holodeck. Perhaps you could take me on one of those again. I know you're new to this timeline, but
Wait, I've been training you.
yeah, I've been taking up some security training myself. As it's been quite an experience. You're a great teacher. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Commander, your thoughts? Since we can't get to the source.
It appears most of our avenues of research are at a standstill at the moment. I imagine Lieutenant Vogel would appreciate some personal time. Am I correct in making that assumption, Lieutenant?
Yes, Commander.
I'm sure our Jansen can be let off her duties for the time being as well.
I believe so, but I appear to have been relieved of the command. Lieutenant Lauren?
It's not something I can restore.
That's not what I'm asking. I apparently don't have the authority to dismiss the rest of my OA team to personal time that the captain provided us. With
I
your
believe
permission.
the doctor is the ranking officer here.
Yes, absolutely. Take your time off as needed. Ensign, Lieutenant, you two can get your time. Commander Solon, I suggest you take some time as well. You can just take your time as needed. 24 hours is what the captain said, as I recall.
What was the time limit he gave us to solve this?
I have an idea, actually.
Yes.
Well, if they got information from the ship, that should still happen, right? It would still have to happen. Vogel, you know more about this than I, but if someone from the Venture was here and took information from the Tenshi back, they would still have to do that.
You mean it would have had to happen again in our timeline, meaning someone would have, that is on the Tenshi right now, would have had to do it again?
Yes.
That's not how paradoxes work.
Couldn't we just...
Could they still be here?
No, it didn't have to happen again.
No. What, you're saying if they came to the Venture, from the Venture to the Tenshi to bring the information back to the Venture to make the Venture do the thing, then they would have to have the information from us to get the Venture to do what it was going to do, right?
You're getting yourself caught in a paradox. It doesn't work that way.
It might be possible, however, to return to the Venture right when the away team beamed back and potentially intercept the information then.
Yeah, we already know that y'all are going to beam at some point in time. The only way we can transfer you without warping around a sun or something is to beam you back under the same conditions again. And we can do that at will. So we could beam them here and beam you there, which would give me and the captain time to figure out who has the device and take it from them. and then we will switch it back and beam you. In fact, I don't think there's anything for y'all to do. I think it's going to be me and the captain that have to figure this out.
The problem would be that the device would not exist in this timeline.
No, but you're going to exchange place with the Venture crew who does have it. So, from our understanding, in the original timeline, in your timeline, the Venture crew had a disc with them that they took off of the Tenshi, and they beamed to their ship with the disc. You beamed here in their place. We're going to flip that back. We're going to beam them back here and beam you to the Venture, and then we can search them for the disc and take the disc and then beam y'all back. You should come back here to us, and they'll go back to the Venture without the disc.
And this might restore us to our timeline. We might rematerialize where we belong.
Possibly. It might result in some small alteration of the timeline because they'll know about the disc, and they may even know what's on the disc, but they won't have the disc to prove it.
But we're here and now. That means you belong here and now. There is no other. This is the timeline. This is what it is. I see what you mean by trying to change it.
It's not ours, or not to us. That's the
I
complicated.
understand that. But to the trillions of other beings who are in this timeline, this universe is ours, in a way.
We'll have our chance to talk to the captain about it, Doctor. But
No,
the
I believe it,
mechanics are
absolutely.
solid.
Yeah,
But
if that is possible.
The timeline has unfortunately already been altered.
Has it?
Doctor, we can't argue that it's been altered. They're here. They don't belong here.
No, I understand that. I'm simply pointing out the idea that the millions and millions of people who died needlessly in this war may be alive on your timeline. And those that are here now, perhaps one of people in this room, aren't there. Who are we to try this?
We've had this argument, Doctor. It's gonna be the captain's decision with the Admiralty.
Doctor, if I may, are you familiar with Captain Kirk's encounter with the Guardian of Forever?
Yes. Somewhat.
What if Captain Kirk had decided that the timeline he existed after McCoy crossed over was now the correct timeline and had not taken action to correct it? Would Kirk's actions then have been ethical? Was Kirk's actions to correct the timeline after McCoy crossed to the Guardian, were those actions proper and ethical?
You're gonna get yourself into a lot of trouble trying to figure out if anything Jim Kirk ever did was ethical.
That may be so. I do believe that in his situation, there was no Enterprise to go back to. And therefore, his only choice was to move forward and correct the timeline. But this timeline, we exist, and we're here.
But who's to say that the timeline without Captain Kirk, the Enterprise, or the Federation was not the correct timeline? At that point in time, only Captain Kirk could have made that decision.
Absolutely. I am not suggesting otherwise. I'm merely pointing out that the idea of choosing who lives and dies for eternity is a bigger thing than just any one person. That's all. But I believe it's proper for you to go to your timeline, as it were.
You are perhaps correct that that is a decision bigger than one person. I find it ironic that more often than not, it is one person making that decision.
I do it every day on the table, and so does your wife. We have people's lives in our hands every day. All of the crew here are mine. So I'm just thinking on a bigger scale, I guess. But I understand the 5 of you have an important place to be other than here.
This is a very hard decision, Doctor. Here we would gain personally so much, but in our timeline, the Federation gains so much.
Without a doubt, it is difficult. And I do not envy the captain in this decision, not in a bit. But I will stand by the captain's choice, of course. And I wish you all well, either way.
And I think we all have to. I think the captain is pretty much deciding for all of us.
Yeah, before we leave, I'll send up a message to the captain real quick that we thought of one even less invasive way than we just told you about to do this.
I'll summon Lauren up to the ready room. On that, after seeing that message.
All right. What is everybody else doing before we go cut to the ready room?
Feel a
One
shuttle.
Yeah. No, that thought had occurred to me. Now, Salon is going to begin a in-depth cultural, social, political, and economic study of Bajor, beginning from the Ventures visit there. He's basically looking for more evidence that that was the incident that caused the change in the timeline.
The commander, doctor will go through all medical scans and science team. We're going to try to find as much information and specificity about the aberrations that I had found in my initial scans and see if we can get any more information that can help anyone get maybe a timeline or how far back things have changed or the variance of their universe to ours or whatnot.
So you know when the timeline changed. That goes all the way back to Bajor, essentially joining the Federation. As for you guys are caught yourself in a loop, thinking paradoxes.
I think our way of doing it should work.
Salon is also still trying to track down Captain Bateson.
High or low?
Low.
Currently, he's on assignment at the front lines. His ship.
Was worth a shot.
Well, the high or low was to see whether or not his ship was destroyed. His ship is there; it's just on the front lines.
So, is it possible to contact the bosun?
Possible, but you have to do it through secure communications. Sarissa, is there anything you wish to do?
No.
So you're going back to like your quarters to ponder things?
Yeah, I think I've done what I can.
Okay. Come back to you in a bit, Solon, and we'll go to the bridge.
I just walk straight to. Once the captain lets me in the room, I'll just walk straight to the replicator. Say, um, random majority. I'll turn to the captain and say, sometimes it's nice to be surprised.
Mm-hmm. I tried that with Cation drinks once. That was a bad idea. Some people have very bad taste on Kate.
Once it materializes, I'll take a sip and sit down.
One person had a meat slurry, which I bet was very tasty to somebody. Ugh.
Yeah, we're not as carnivorous as you, so I don't think I'd run into something so shocking.
You say that, but
In fact, I'm more likely for it to not materialize anything and tell me to fast than I am to get a meat slurry.
It's kind of bland. Just a typical tea. It's not sweet. It's not spicy. It's not real soothing.
Oh, it's what the Orthodox faction drinks.
Yeah, they don't like embellishments too much.
All right, Lieutenant. I looked over your proposals and what you guys have done so far.
I think, honestly, all we have to do is attempt the beam again. One of them's going to have the disc on them.
Then the trick becomes, how do we ensure that... How do we minimize the damage they did while still maximizing the gains for our universe? I mean, send a file back? Well, first we'd have to figure out what they have.
This array team won't do that. I don't think they would do that for us.
That's why we'll have to do it for them then, Lieutenant. As the case may be.
Then what we do, we go ahead with the plan, we take the disc from them, and we give them a disc with the technical readouts. We give them several discs, a disc with the technical readouts of the Galaxy class and the Defiant class, a technical readout of biomimetic gel, a technical readout of the Warp 9 engine.
Basically give them a jump start. Even for the Federation, a jump start.
Maybe we even give them what we know of the Dominion's Polaron weapons. This is breaking. I mean, we could lose our careers just for having this conversation.
Well, there's going to be the proposal we put before the Admiralty to see which way they want to shoot this. They may tell us to sit on their hands and do nothing. Better not to break. If the glass is already broken, but it is already cracked, don't start poking at it till it breaks. You just leave it alone. But I don't think they will. They'll call it one way or the other. I know what I want to do, but I don't want to allow my personal feelings to influence my decisions. So that's why I've been dutifully taking all reports, passing it along to the appropriate authorities, and acting as in a way that I can sleep with.
If you wish for that to be the case, then I can do what I want to do, and I'm not going to tell you about it.
No, normally I would say yes to that, Lieutenant, but in this event, well, let's just say we're not at that particular river yet that we have to cross.
Well, if I ever let you actually give me a yes on that, then you would have crossed the line in which you wouldn't be able to sleep anymore. So we're either have passed the Rubicon or we haven't. And for the sake of your slumber, I won't tell you which side of the Rubicon you're on.
It's not good of a captain to pass the buck on to his subordinates.
If you wish,
pass things up, not down.
If you wish to know that you're solidly on the right side of the Rubicon, then you can just order me to stay in my quarters. If you don't want to know which side of the Rubicon you're on, then go about your day.
At this point, I don't think it's necessary, Lieutenant. Believe me, if I need you to do something pursuant to Article 14, then I'll take the hit straight on, because that's the decision that we have to make. But until such time we're forced to make such a call, I don't think we need to leave that here. But he shrugs. In the event that our happy-go-lucky friends decide to force our hand, then, and somehow try to take me out of the equation, then I trust you to do what's best.
Tell you what we can do. I walk over to the computer panel and input 2 data chips. Computer, download technical specs for USS Enterprise D, USS Defiant, and all known information about Polaron weaponry. Is the computer going to do that, or is there some issue there?
Please state nature of needing a technical specs.
Open engineering projects on USS Tenshi to increase efficiency in engineering department and tactical department. With captain's authorization, and I'll turn to the captain. Dead man switch, if you would, please.
He looks at you for a beat, like he is actually thinking.
You don't have to use it, but if you decide later you want it, you can't come back and get it. It's not like you can travel back in time and change things. I'll say with a smile.
The captain will type in his authorization and tie it such that it can't be unlocked unless he's been incapacitated.
For 2 momentum.
Sure.
How does the computer know you've been incapacitated in an unlawfully way?
The doctor has scanners going on everywhere to make sure everybody's at fit capacity.
Well, probably what I tell it to do is just tell it, because internal sensors would just keep an eye on me. If I type in the "I'm okay" code, then I'm okay. Like I'm going under surgery or what have you. But if I drop for some mysterious reason, then
This also means if we give it one of these chips, regardless of whether you're awake or not, if they go back with it, it'll automatically activate because it can't talk to the computer anymore, and it'll think you've gone down.
But it only will activate it stays. It's going to stay locked if it leaves the ship without me being incapacitated first.
Keep in mind you would actually have to convert it over to the older style card.
Yeah, so
this.
we could probably put it in a
Oh, I
card
thought.
format for the era,
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
just so we don't have to bring a lot of converter because that just adds problems.
As long as the dead. Yeah, this makes sense to the GM because I don't know how. Yeah.
Essentially, you have a little pad that has the disc on there, and you can't remove the disc, unless authorization is okay. If the person would come, if the captain's incapacitated, you cannot move the disc, or the disc gets wiped. As it gets removed without the authorization. So, fiat.
Yeah.
So,
And I specifically said to have 2 of them that way in case he is capacitated. I have one that I can give out.
it's like in the computer, little computer pad, and it can't be removed until such time.
Yeah, so we basically just have 2. We'll have 2 pads. They'll have that same lock on it. That way, if my pad poofs for whatever reason because I get vaporized, then there's a spare just lying around ready to go. It's almost like I'm not a very trusting captain.
Well then, yeah. Once the computer completes that, I'll hand the captain's pad and locked disc over to him, and I will tuck mine in my uniform.
That's your measure of our fair weather friends.
They're pretty much the same as the people they replaced.
Hmm.
All of the good and all of the bad, I think.
Well, hopefully they agree to join Starfleet again. If not, well, we have our duties. And we'll find new people to replace them if needed.
Yeah, if the Admiralty says no, if the Admiralty says yes, we should go ahead with this, then they don't have to know anything. All they
That's
have
true.
to know is that they're going back to their own time.
That is true. When's the last time you did a covert mission like this, Lauren? Need to know and all that.
You remember the crisis with them crystals?
Vaguely. I was assigned. I was on the Aegir.
Firestar never happened, by the way.
Oh, it didn't happen?
Nope.
Did something happen in its place?
Dominion War.
Okay, then I'll just say, yeah, there was this one black op on a station. I didn't get to meet Captain Elder, but I was in the same proximity as him in the Tenshi. In fact, I think some of the senior staff were on board the ship. I was serving on board a different ship at the time.
Mm-hmm. Vision, wasn't it?
Yeah. Barely made it out of that one.
Yeah. Let's just say we made some difficult decisions when we took Earth back.
I've never seen a Dominion soldier take so many hits and keep going.
We're gonna have to make some tough calls, Lauren, and they're not gonna like it, and I don't think they're gonna be used to the way we do things here. So, I don't want to hurt these people. They don't know what we've had to go through, but they're Federation citizens, so they have the same protections as everyone else. So let's treat them as such.
Well, we're survivors. We've had to endure far more than they can imagine.
Aye, that. All right, Lauren. I'll let you get back to your duties. We'll see if the Admiralty picks a direction, and if not, they may just kick it back to me. Which, if they do that, I am going to need a new carpet. Let's just put it that way.
No admiral who's ever made it to admiral has kicked something of this magnitude back down to a captain, unless that captain's name was Jim Kirk.
I'd rather not be the second one, Lieutenant.
I will go set up the transportation protocol so that we can beam back with the agitated ions. We might need to return to orbit of that planet. In fact, we do need to return to orbit of the planet.
If I need to divert, I'll get it set up, and if we need to divert, I'll get the ship in the right direction.
I will nod a little bit and walk down to the transporter room to start setting up the screwy time transporter thing.
I'm gonna call the admiral.
As you prepare to call the admiral. Oh, Capitan, playing with time.
Hello, Q. I think time is playing with me at the moment. What can I do for you, Q? I'd offer you something to drink, but I don't think you need to drink, as I recall from last time.
No, but there's always the flavor. As the former captain of the Enterprise, Jean-Luc Picard, tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot. You know, once the cup materializes, he actually walks it over and hands it to him. Takes a seat in the chair to be a little more comfortable.
Takes a sip. I never knew why Jean-Luc Picard liked this. Of course, he's deceased in this time.
Good officer. We're lesser without him. Although his taste in tea is terrible, but I won't hold it against him if you won't. To what do I owe the pleasure, other than here to offer a way to save us from the Dominion? Oh, wait, you're going to tell me no again.
Well, you humans did manage to mess up the timeline yet again. I will not be fixing it for you, though.
I beg your pardon, Q.
This is not the first time that stuff like this has happened with your kind. Well, Federation, humans, you all branch from the same thing.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Are you sure this course of action is the one you wish to partake? It could be worse than what it is now, or better.
It's my duty to do everything I can for the Federation. Whether I personally want it that way or not is immaterial. If we all got to do what personally satisfied our needs and whims, then we wouldn't be a Starfleet. We'd just be a bunch of iterant traders hoping for the best and bumping into space.
And are you sure it's your whims or your understanding of the will of your Starfleet protocol that you're currently following?
If the Admiralty thinks that the cost is low enough, then we're going to make the move that we think we see fit. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices. We're not always happy with them, but we make them.
Well, this will be very, very interesting. Good luck, Captain. Bridge to you, Captain.
Captain here.
Admiral Tavis is on the line for you. Priority 1.
To my ready room.
On screen appears the Starfleet logo with Admiral Tavis image soon coming into view.
Sir,
He raises an eyebrow. You look like you've seen a ghost, Captain.
I've had another run-in with Q.
I see. Needless to
Seems to be
say,
aware. Oh, go ahead, sir.
apologies.
Oh, no, not at all, sir.
I will get to the point. Your vessel is now under my supervision.
Aye, sir.
You will proceed with your role to try to correct the timeline.
Sir?
It is my understanding that Commander Solon and his OE team came to this timeline, which would embark that the timeline was different and diverged by something that my former crew members participated in. You are to correct that.
Yes, sir. And actually, in the update file, my chief engineer put in a suggestion that involves basically repeating what we did and simply retrieving the file. We can insert new data to correct their mistakes and improve ours. Sir. All we need is the authorization to turn back to the planet, and we can initiate the procedure as soon as we're within orbit.
You may continue.
Sir?
Live long and prosper, Captain.
Aye, sir.
Communication goes blank.
Captain to the bridge.
Bridge here, sir.
Divert course to previous planet. Yellow alert.
Aye, sir.
LBL.
Sarissa, in your quarters, you have a subspace call coming for you. It's from Kate.
Okay. Answering it, but confused answering. The confused curious. There we go.
On the screen appears your mother. Sarissa, so glad you picked up. I've been trying to get hold of your sister. Have you heard word from the front line?
No, I've not heard anything recently. I can try and look something up, though.
Are you okay, sweetheart?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just been a stressful day.
I understand.
One minute. Let me try and find what I can. Yeah, I guess I'm doing that.
Okay. You asked the computer for the location of your sister?
Yep.
You didn't put a name down, so
Sarura, I did. It's on the front sheet of my character sheet. I'll send them to you.
my bad.
Of Sarura. Sarura. I have not tried to pronounce it before now.
USS Miramar has gone missing. She was reassigned to it after a few months ago.
Missing in action. But that's all I have.
If you hear anything, let me know.
Oh, of course. You'll be the first one to know.
You're doing okay out there, right? I know the Tenshi's been on more pathfinding mission to help the refugees.
Yes, we're fine out here. We're doing what we can. Keeping busy.
Stay in touch, and don't forget to write.
Of course. I'll do what I can, Mother. Whenever I get a moment.
Goodbye.
Of course, goodbye. Yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything else they wish to do? I think with that, we will leave this to be continued.